in the CP farm, the enormous 20-kilometer long farm off Hangzhou Bay. This is just one of the districts, the greenhouse district, in which greenhouses stretch as far as the eye can see. This is just one part of what you might call this industrial agricultural park, part of a fundamentally profound change in the scope and scale of Chinese agriculture.
This is Mr. Tang. Mr. Tang is the vice director of this greenhouse project. This is Mr. Zhuang, and he's responsible for the production and planning section. Here we'll introduce some basic knowledge about this greenhouse. This greenhouse is called 832 type kind of greenhouse. It's not that technically advanced, but it has the advantage of being cheap enough to be widely applied by local farmers here. The cost of building of this kind of greenhouse is about 100 yuan per square meters. The product we have here won't cost more than 2 yuan per 500 grams. So in this way, we can reduce the price of the agricultural products here to allow more and more common people to enjoy the great advantage of technology. Technically, the first step that we have been trying to do here is to test the productivity of the barren salty line here. And by applying a kind of technology called 无土栽培, that is plantation without soil. This kind of technology they use is called 无限生长, unlimited growth, which means they won't control like how long or how tall this plant will grow. They will let it keep growing, and which means that it will lengthen the seasons of the growth, so that, for instance, starting from every year February until December, this plant will keep growing, and that also means that they will have a relatively long period to have harvest of the product. So it will reduce the cost. In terms of their selections of the kind of vegetables or fruits that they grow here, take the tomatoes as example here. They selected a kind of tomato that has been tested having high productivity. There was a quite strict selection process. An equally important aspect that the CP Group has been paying attention to is how to maintain the environmental or ecological balance, which means they will use organic fertilizers, and they will make sure, on one hand, the agricultural products are organic, and that on the other hand, the soil they keep using for growing those products can maintain its fertility and not polluted. This whole process is a non-damaging process, and the first important step is to isolate the plant from the outside environment, and then they choose a kind of fertilizer that is organic, that won't leave any chemical traces in the soil. The second process is to apply a biological control in terms of the insecticide to prevent insect damages. And what they do is they will choose certain kind of parasite and let them kill the other insects that are their natural enemies in order to prevent the plant from the damage of the chemical insecticides. Another very important process is that the company will print certain trace mark on the package of each product, and then digitize the information of those products, and to make sure that each product is traceable. And so, for instance, after you buy a package of tomatoes, you know where it is from, you know where it was originally produced, and which piece of the line it is from, to make sure that customers will understand, to be sure that the products are safe. All of those processes that we mentioned are based on one principle, that is, the company wants all the people around China to enjoy good food, safe food, with a cheaper price. Since the CP Group established its Cixi project, the plan has been carried out, but only some part of it has been realized. But this also means that there are more work for us to do, and our goal is to create a complete, systematic agricultural production that has the features of the CP agricultural ideals and principles.
We're in the greenhouse for cucumbers, and I can tell you that these are really good cucumbers. Again, they're organically grown. They have biological controls for pests. A little cucumber like this takes only 10 to 15 days to grow into a big cucumber like that. the interesting part of this is that you have these plants down here, they're let down, and then you let them grow back up. So 10 months out of the year, they're producing cucumbers. And these are really good cucumbers. But the production rate per mu, which is around a sixth of an acre, is really quite extraordinary. 一亩是生产多少？
14000斤。
7,000 kilograms a year from 1/6 of an acre of these wonderful, wonderful cucumbers.